here with Senator Tony Bucco. Senator, thank you for joining us.
It's a pleasure to be here, Steve.
What would you say the number 1, 2, and 3 business economic issues are in 2017 in New Jersey?
Well, as a business owner, not as a senator speaking, regulations, taxes, and the loss of other businesses here in the state of New Jersey. Customers that I have sold for years are moving out and moving on, and it's quite troubling to me. And very honestly, Steve, I think if I were not a state senator, I'd probably look to move also out of the state of New Jersey, my business.
Is that true?
It's very true. With today's technology, you don't even have to live near your business today. Between computers and fax machines and cell phones and Skype and whatever else, it's very easy to run businesses. And I have many of my customers that have moved out of the state because of because of that, of the over-regulations, and also because of taxes, especially estate taxes.
You know, actually the senator talks about being a small business owner. You actually have legislation, S1207, a survey that you're trying to get moved forward that would ask businesses that leave, hey, why did you leave? What's up with that legislation?
It hasn't moved yet. We're trying to get that moving. That came about, if you remember, a little while back when Mercedes-Benz up in Bergen County announced that they were moving, I think, down to Atlanta, if I recall correctly.
That's right.
And I said, why? Nobody could answer me. No one had an answer why. That's why I put the survey together. It's an exit survey. Tell me why you're moving. Is it regulations? Is it taxes? Or is it just that you want the warmer climate? I don't know. But if it's taxes, if it's regulations, we can look at it and see what we can do to help correct it and maybe entice you or keep you here if that's what the problem is.
Senator, let me ask you this. With Donald Trump as president, clearly he's talked a lot about keeping jobs in this country, including New Jersey. What do you think it could mean, his presidency, for the state of New Jersey when it comes to business?
I think it's going to be very good for the state of New Jersey and for the country itself. He's a businessman. He understands. And like you said earlier, I'm a small business owner. I understand what the impact it is on businesses, not just mine, but on all businesses when some of this legislation comes about. And again, no disrespect to our other legislators. Most of them are attorneys, and you know, my son's an attorney and he's in the assembly. But he understands because he hears my complaints over the years of what is going on. So he's also very pro-business. And I think this is what we have to try to keep our businesses here. You know, when I first started selling before I even owned my own business.
Oh, explain to folks your business.
I'm a manufacturer of water-based and hot melt adhesives. If you know what Elmer's glue is, that's basically what we make. But I don't sell it in little jars. I sell it in drums up to tank wagons. And this is a business that I've been in ever since I graduated school. And we have been able to build a nice little business here. But I remember when I first started out selling for a regional company here in New Jersey. I can make, on a commission basis, a very good living between Newark, Jersey City, Patterson, Elizabeth. There was enough business around to do that. A salesman today can't do that. They're spreading out. Now I have my grandson working for me as a salesman. He's all the way out into Ohio now selling companies because this is what it takes today. Because a lot of them have moved out, and that Ohio company happened to have been a New Jersey company at one time.
But you're convinced Trump would actually be good for business? I mean, even with his history with some small business owners going bankrupt, having some problems paying some of those folks, you're convinced he would be good for small business?
I think he will be good for small business, again, because he understands what it takes to run a small business. All right? And I think he's going to use some of those principles to look to see what he can do to keep small businesses here. We've seen what he's done with Carrier, and also, I believe, Lincoln down in Lincoln car manufacturing. He's been able to save them, and I think this is what it's going to take. It's going to take the cooperation between the states and the federal government to do it.
Senator, last question. A $15 minimum wage, you say?
jumping it from the current minimum wage to $15, I don't think is a good idea. I think a gradual increase would be fine. I think business people could understand that. You can plan then. You can't plan for something that's going to start on January 1st or July 1st or whatever date they pick and go from $8 or $9 or $10 an hour that someone's making up to $15 an hour. It's impossible. But also what the $15 an hour wage does, Steve, is that it raises the ceiling, because now the person that was making $14 or $15 an hour, and you're jumping someone from 10 or 12 up to 15, he wants a raise, or she wants a raise, right? And then the one that's at 17, they're saying, well, what about me? And it just keeps going.
But finally, real quick on the center, for those who say, I can't make it in New Jersey on less than that, you say?
I don't start my people at minimum wage. All right?
You don't, with your business.
I do not. I start them, I'm going to say probably $12, $13 an hour for a 90-day period. Once they prove themselves in a 90-day period, we give them a slight bump in their raise. So I think it's the individual businesses, and if you're not satisfied with the job that you're doing at the pay that you're getting, you do have the opportunity in this country to move on and look for something better. And I'm going to tell you, I just hired someone, two people about 6 months ago. Both came in about the same time, one in the office and one in the factory. We had difficulty finding somebody that wanted to work in Patterson with a high unemployment rate.
Senator, your perspective, not just as a legislator, but sometimes more importantly as a business owner, is very valuable for people to understand. We appreciate your time. Thank you.
I thank you for having me on.
All the best.
Thanks.
New Jersey Capitol Report is a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation, celebrating over 25 years of broadcast excellence. Funding for this edition of New Jersey Capitol Report has been provided by Wells Fargo, Seton Hall University, New Jersey Resources, N.J. Best, Hackensack University Medical Center Foundation, the New Jersey Association of Health Underwriters, Fedway Associates, and by these public-spirited organizations, individuals, and associations committed to informing New Jersey citizens about the important issues facing the Garden State.